degree in those related fields, but there's some good teaching experience, and so we might want to hear your story. So you might come in and tell us more about this. I mean, it does depend a little bit based on the other applicants as well. So there's never a 100% surefire answer to that. But I mean, teaching experience is very important too. So sure.
In the front row.
So I didn't quite get the first part. Being a teacher. Being a teacher at university? Yeah. So you're a school teacher now, and you want to work in university? Okay. Not really my area, exactly. I'm guessing, as I said before, I think, find a university where you want to work. What kind of students do they teach? If you're teaching children now, and you want to move to the university area, then that's adult education. So I would suggest that there's going to be some training involved to cross over from young learners to adults. What subject will you be teaching the adults? Because I'm guessing with children you teach a whole lot of different subjects. It's a very, very different area. So that would be my advice. The others might have a little bit more experience of that than me.
I would like to add to what Nick said, that teaching children and teaching adults are so different. And so being a teacher, even if you've been a teacher for children for over 10 years, it still is difficult to cross over from teaching children to adults or the other way around. And so, as Nick mentioned, that's why you need that training. It's some training because it's totally different. I can't say exactly. It depends on what program you're doing and what type of training you're getting. But it is necessary that you do get some training to be able to move from that to this because it's different.
I think we have time for one more question in the front.
I just want to ask, concerning school teachers, how would getting students to sit for the FC exams benefit them as learners, and how important is that?
That's interesting because I think a few years ago, CAT, PET, and particularly First Certificate were really, really, really popular. And I remember working in the British Council in Bahrain, and we did a lot of those kind of exams. It seems to have died down a little bit, and I think that most people would accept that it's the IELTS exam that people should be looking towards. So certainly with PET and CAT, at the lower level Cambridge exams, it's a useful thing, it's encouraging, exactly, it gets you into an examination mode. It's lovely to study, to do an exam, to be successful, to get a certificate, talk to your family. So it gets you through the levels, it gets you through those strategies. But I certainly think that FCE and the other exams are a lot less popular than they used to be. And I think that it's IELTS because of the obviously general academic, university or immigration.
So there's just the cousin that I think of the British Council now, there is no FC, so I went to ask if there was no mention of FC exams being, administered.
Yeah, we don't have any CAT, PET and FCE classes, nor CE or CP, which shows you how, it shows you the demand is not there. So as I say, people don't want those courses anymore.
There are exams.
We are an exam centre, we don't teach the courses, So we do the exams for those two, but the demand is just not there anymore, and it's much more IELTS, and everything is geared towards IELTS.
But it's advisable to encourage your students to go for the...
Because obviously if you're doing IELTS, you're looking for a 6, 6.5 and 7, and if you're lower, if you're pre-intermediate, you're never going to get that. So if you do PET and CAT, it gives you a bit of confidence.
What about FC, if you'd like to carry on?
Yeah, the FC is at that upper intermediate level. You might want to think, well, I'll just go for the IELTS. Depends on what you need from the IELTS, yeah?
Okay, one last question from the gentleman.
I have a question concerning the governmental schools. What's your opinion about the curriculum, especially teaching English as a foreign language? And what are your suggestions for upgrading this
Curriculum in the government?
Yes, the curriculum of teaching English as a foreign language in the governmental schools. What I want to say, what is the difficult, what are the difficulties the difficult area, and the most benefits we should focus on. What's your suggestion about upgrading the curriculum at all?
Real quickly, I'll bring it back to the topic of teacher qualifications, because I've been in many ministry schools. I would say that it is, if you were working with a very rigid curriculum, if you think it's rigid, if it's, with the pros and cons, factor that into your teacher development, because that is where you see, and I've seen this in action, where you can see some real problem solving. And when I hear people, there's nothing I can do with my students, with my large classes, there's nothing I can do with my curriculum. Yes, there is. It's often not an easy situation, but turn that back on yourself in terms of what are you doing in terms of your students and all of your obstacles, and then what are you doing in terms of making that curriculum, whatever is in there, making that experience meaningful for your students. And that's something we ask in interviews a lot. So just to bring it back.
Especially the curriculum.
Okay.
Yes. Make it functional as much as you can. Make the students use, not just memorize. Make them use. Make it adaptable to the culture, adaptable to their daily life. They will benefit more, not just to pass an exam, but this will help them really enjoy the language, benefit of the language, and be able to speak it. This is what it's really for.
Okay, I think we're going to have to stop there so we can get ready for the plenary speaker at 2. But I just want to wrap up. What most of the panelists have said is to really get experience and practice teaching to develop your teacher instinct, those 5 C's that Helena was talking about, being also comfortable with technology, and also working together, getting feedback from many different areas as you can, from a mentor, from a supervisor, from students themselves, and also do a lot of self-reflection. You want to really work on your X factor, as Nick was saying, and research has shown here that effective teachers have all of these characteristics center around caring and what helps you develop your teacher instinct or X factor. So thank you very much for attending our panel discussion today. Thank you to our panelists.